So, you've probably heard the buzz. India has this massive ambition, right, to become a global powerhouse in electronics manufacturing. Well, right in the middle of that epic story is a company called Kaynes Technology, and they are making some absolutely huge bets on that future. Today, we're going to break it all down. All right, let's dive in. Here's the game plan. First, we'll get into what they actually do. Then, we'll look at a really crucial shift in their strategy. After that, we'll unpack their insane growth and, the costs that come with it. We'll explore their big future plans, and finally, we'll tackle the big question, that sky-high valuation.
Okay, first things first, let's get down to brass tacks. What exactly does Kaynes Technology make? It all happens in a few key stages, and each one gets more and more complex.
At the very basic level, they do something called printed circuit board assembly, or PCBA. So, picture this. Think of that plain green board you see inside any gadget. Kaynes takes that blank slate and meticulously solders on all the tiny little chips and components that bring it to life. They're literally building the brain of the device. So, what's next after you have the brain? Well, you've got to give it a body, right? That's the box build. They take that fully loaded circuit board and install it into the final product's casing. We're talking smartphones, smart meters, you name it. They hand over a complete, ready-to-go product. But this is the top of the mountain. It's called Original Design Manufacturing, or ODM. And here, Kaynes isn't just following a set of instructions anymore. No way. They are partnering with clients right from the spark of an idea, helping them actually design the electronics. They basically become a second brain in the whole creation process. And this pretty much lays out their entire strategy perfectly. You see the pattern, right? As they climb this ladder from simple assembly to becoming a full-on design partner, their value to the client just skyrockets. And you guessed it, so do their profits. Now, climbing that value chain isn't just a neat business model. It's the absolute core of their entire evolution as a company. They are fundamentally changing who they are and what they do in this industry.
This right here shows you everything. They're making a massive shift from being a simple electronic manufacturing service provider, or EMS provider, where you just follow the blueprint, to becoming an electronic system design and manufacturing, or ESDM, powerhouse. So in plain English, they're going from being hired hands to being indispensable partners. And that right there is the secret sauce to their whole growth story.
So we've got the strategy. But what about the money? Let's dig into the numbers, because they tell a really fascinating story of incredible growth, but also of the huge price tag that comes with it. First, the headline number. Get this, their order book is a whopping 7,400 crore rupees. That's up almost 50% in just 1 year. An order book that big gives them a crystal clear view of their revenue for the next 1.5 to 2 years. It's incredible. And all those orders? Yeah, they're turning into actual cash. Revenue shot up by a super healthy 34% in just 1 quarter. So the growth is undeniable. It's a rocket ship. But is it all good news? Because when you start to peel back the layers of the onion, the costs of that explosive growth start to look a little concerning. Okay, for any investor, this is where it gets a little complicated. Some of their key efficiency numbers are low. But the real head-scratcher? Look at the time it takes for them to get paid. It's almost doubled. It means that while new business is flooding in, the actual cash is getting stuck somewhere along the way. So what on earth is going on? The answer is, they're making a massive all-in bet on the future. They're preparing for what they believe will be a tidal wave of new business. And to do that, Kaynes has increased its factories, its machinery, its fixed assets by 6 to 7 times in just 2 years. They are pouring cash out today to build the capacity they need for tomorrow.
And this brings us to the really fun part. Where is all that investment money actually going? Well, it's fueling some seriously ambitious projects in some of the hottest tech sectors on the planet.
I mean, let's just look at one of their bets, their new semiconductor facility. By 2030, they're expecting this single division to bring in 4,000 crore rupees in revenue. Now, to put that in perspective, their entire company's revenue last year was less than 3,000 crore. This one project is bigger than their whole business is today. It's a massive, massive bet. Okay, let's zoom in a little. In the shorter term, their plan for fiscal year 2026 is to hit about 4,500 crores in total revenue. And you can see here their main business is still the engine. And that new semiconductor division is just getting warmed up, just starting to chip in. But when you zoom back out, wow,
The ambition is just staggering. They're aiming for $1 billion in revenue by fiscal year 2028, and then they want to double that to $2 billion just 2 years later. That is an absolutely exponential growth plan. And this growth is supposed to come from pretty much everywhere. They're sealing major deals in EVs and auto. They're a huge part of India's railway modernization. They're pushing hard into aerospace, and they want to grab a massive slice of the smart meter market. They are firing on all cylinders.
And all of it brings us to the final and maybe the most important question. With all this future success already priced into the stock, is the company just too darn expensive? I mean, on the surface, the valuation just looks wild. A price-to-earnings ratio of around 140. That basically means investors are paying a huge premium today, betting that this company will deliver absolute perfection tomorrow. But wait, that is only half the story. When you actually factor in their explosive growth rate, the picture totally changes. The PEG ratio, which compares price to growth, comes in around 1.3. And you know what? In the world of high-growth investing, a number like that suddenly makes the valuation look a whole lot more reasonable.
So we're left with this really fascinating question, aren't we? Is Kaynes Technology's aggressive, cash-burning strategy just the necessary cost of building a true national tech champion? Or is this a story of incredible ambition that is priced so high it leaves absolutely zero room for error? That, my friends, is the billion-dollar bet investors are making right now.